Hi and welcome to our next section, building the web UI and connect it to our GraphQL server. After the last two sections, we now have a running backend server for powering our React frontend application, so now it is time to create our client. We will create a React application project, design the UI main components, add and set up the Apollo client library, fill data by using GraphQL queries, and finally, we will connect the client with the GraphQL server. Let's start with the video. Set up the project for our React application. We will have an installed dev environment installed, bootstrap the React project with its file structure, and look into some code style conventions and some additional tooling. First, we will have to install Node.js. When I open this page, so you find that there are two versions, the 8.9 LTS and the 9.5. For us, the Node version 8 is fully sufficient, and we will stick on this version because it's stable and tested, and it has all the features we need for our development. Then we will use the Facebook's Create React app tooling. That's pretty nice because it has all built in to bootstrap our application. Therefore, you find in this quick overview that this is the command we have to start to bootstrap this application project. That might be similar to Yeoman, which some people might know. And on the other side, you also find here a lot of more information on this page. Here's a bunch of links, and you can find more deep information if you find you would like to have some more information, for instance, for how to deploy the application later. So, and here we will also use the editor config standard and install ESLint. And if you don't know ESLint, I have to recommend it to you because it helps to find little minor typos which would be normally don't be easily to detect in JavaScript, but it has some built-in rules, for instance, to find if you are using some variables which were not defined until that point, and that helps a lot to find simple typos. We will use it in combination with Prettier. Prettier is a nice code formatter, and you can find here a lot of information how to set it up. It brings some nice standard, but in combination with ESLint, which is pretty easy to install, as you can see here also, it has or brings a nice feature to allow to fix things in the formatting. So for instance, by using Prettier, it's pretty easy to switch between using semicolons or not using semicolons. Or also, if I want to use an indent of 2, 3 or 4, switching back and forth is easy and won't break anything and brings a standard formatting. Therefore, I like it very much. So now let's dive into our terminal, and we will use the Create React app as we saw some seconds before, in combination with npx, which is part of the npm5 package, and we will call our project coolboard. And after some downloading and creating some files here, we will be there in a second. And as you can already see, it uses here Yarn as a package manager. So we already have our packages. And let me quickly jump into the project structure. Or first, let's open the package.json. And as you can see here, we have a simple dependencies list of just these 4 dependencies. Basically, of course, we need React and React DOM. And for the tooling and bootstrapping and starting our application, we will use the React scripts, which use just some conventions to start our application. We will use the start script and so on later. But first, let's look into the file structure. because we got a bunch of interesting files here. First, the README gives us the same information as we saw before in a React Create App GitHub page. The file structure again. Here you see there are a bunch of files, and I expanded it so that you can see that there are some, let's say, assets which are needed on the web page or will be later loaded by the browser. And under the source folder we have our app.js and index.js, which are basically the sources we will need for our application. But they are pretty fine, and we will start later with app.js. But first, let me show you how we can set up our ESLint stuff. Therefore, I jump into the settings of the IDE. IntelliJ has this nice integration. You can find it easily by searching for ESLint here, and in the tabs list on the left side, you can see that here it can be enabled. And I'm using just the default values, and it automatically uses the ESLint module, which is already there, and automatically uses the configuration here. So as you see, it's basically the default configuration, and I already have activated. So of course I also need to install it, and I run them in the terminal again. First we install ESLint and ESLint configuration for React app, and then we will also include the prettier configuration and the integration into ESLint. After a second it's installed. So first, this is the ESLint configuration, and it just integrates the newest Babel ESLint parser for supporting the ES6 and ES7 features we will typically use in our application. Then of course React and Prettier as a plugin, and the specific rules are integrated easily, and that's basically it. Here's just one thing, semicolon. I don't use the ESLint built-in rule because it's already comes by Prettier. And let me show you how this works now, because when we start with our app.js source file, and when I would have some strange or unusual formatting or indenting, we get these warnings here, and by using the hotkey here, for instance, I can run the ESLint fix rule. I can also do this with this pop-up menu here, fix ESLint problems, and they're gone. And we can also have this here, for instance, or when I would use here a flag in React which doesn't exist, ESLint give me the nice information. So the typical typos which can happen while development won't happen anymore, or at least I get this hint. So, and now after having all prepared,